Still, step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Welcome to Grow House, we grow, we grow. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow. Welcome to Grow House. We grow, we grow.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Grow House. We are now on episode 5 and I am so excited. It's been amazing. If you are new here, this is where you're going to learn about the industry of houseplants, people's personal stories, and get advice at the end on how to take care of some of your favorite plants or some of the plants that we bring up here. And so you can kind of get a feel on how, if you're new to some of these plants, maybe you'll catch a new obsession. But you know, it's super fun. We learn a lot here. We yap a lot here. Always something new to learn, something new to talk about. Today we're going to be talking about Anthurium. Now this isn't the first time we've talked about Anthurium on our channel, but this is going to be way more in depth. Today we will be with the Variegated Jungle, Ashley. She is a co-creator of Anthurium Addicts, a popular Facebook group, so I'm excited to have her on. As always, big shout out to Mike, the producer, and Herb Collectors Network for having me here. It's definitely such a blessing. Also, we will be having another giveaway. We'll be doing a giveaway on this No ID Anthurium. Super beautiful Anthurium. And I can't wait to see who this gets to. So go ahead and stick to the end so we can get this to someone, and it's going to be an awesome plant. They get absolutely huge. Here is a small one about the size of my hand. I'm going to show you now. It isn't the same Anthurium, but it kind of shows you how big they can get. This is one of my newer ones. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen her. Absolutely gorgeous. And this did come from one of our guests, Royal Root Plant Co. She's amazing. Thank you, girl, for getting this to me. I'm super excited. And it looks like she has a flower. Amazing. We're going to do some fun stuff with that. All right. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest, Ashley. I'm super excited to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you guys?
Good. Kai wanted to join for a little bit.
Yes. Hi, dude. How are you?
Hi.
Are you being a little shy? Come here. Hi. Is that his 1 minute of fame? And now he's like, all right, I'm gone. I'm done.
He was like, when is our podcast? And I was like, our podcast, huh?
He knows what's up. I love that. No, I love that energy. I would bring my kids on the show, but my kids are menaces, straight menaces. So we'd have shit flying. If you guys were to go back and look.
What do you have, 2 or 3? You have 3, right?
I got 2. Jackson and Sephora. Sephora is just about 5 and Jackson's just about 4. Together, they're just a tornado.
That's like sleeping close in age like that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And a boy and a girl, and all they do is fight. You know, they're insane.
Yeah, we were like that. It's all we did was fight. But you know what? When we got older, we were stoked. Like, we're still so close to this day.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. You know? Me and my brother, we fought all the time. And now I see it, like I get what my mom was going through, because I have them in the back seat. They're still strapped into their car seats. They can't even touch each other, and they argue nonstop the whole time.
Oh, I know. It's like, for sure.
All right. So no, I'm super excited to have you here. I can see that you pulled some really awesome Anthurium. I'm super, super excited to kind of, talk about those towards the end. They're going to be, those are definitely attention grabbing. So the ones you pulled are
They were.
perfect.
I was like, they were right there when I unzipped the tent in my like mother plant tent, and I was like, perfect. This
That's
works.
awesome. I love that. All right, well, let's just jump right into this. Let's figure out like what is your role in the industry? What do you provide? What do you do?
So I guess kind of a little bit of everything. Like I mainly started out, collecting, obviously. And then it kind of just I originally started helping out like other friends, admin and mod for their groups and stuff like that in Facebook. And I started getting more and more into collecting. Like I really was heavy into Monstera and variegated philodendron at first, I still love my variegated plants 100%, but I feel like everybody kind of gets to that point where it's not that you like have everything that you want, but like usually, the things that you really still do want in those like, species, it's like either unattainable or you just start kind of not getting bored, but like, there's like more out there. So you start like branching out a little bit more. And I always was not against Anthurium, those first few years, but they weren't my favorite. Like I think a lot of people originally think, oh, they all look alike and they all look the same. But once you really start like seeing them and, like in person, especially, and growing them, it's like you see a ton of differences. Even in the ones that really do kind of look similar, you're able to identify certain characteristics that one would have where the other one definitely wouldn't. And it's a whole nother rabbit hole, I feel like.
It is. I feel like almost everyone that I talk to, and myself included, they start with almost everything else, and like Anthurium is like that thing that people are low-key afraid of. Like
sure. I feel like there's a lot of like stigma around it where people are like, oh, you don't want to collect those, like, they're bitchy plants and they throw a fit. And I feel like if you're able to get your Monstera, I will still say to this day, the hardest thing to learn to root is probably Monstera, because
they are difficult. Yeah,
if they're not like healthy to begin with, if they're not hydrated when they're cut, or if they're coming as an import, and a lot of times back, in like 2020, 2021, all those were like imports and they were flipped immediately, so they're shipped for who knows how long, and then they're going to you in another box. So I can't even tell you how many. And I had like grown my own regular, Deliciosa for a while and like propagated those, no problem. But I probably went through, I'd say at least 10 elbow cuttings that were, $400, $500, $600 a piece. Before I finally got one to like successfully root. And I actually still have that to this day. I like refuse to get rid of it because I'm like, nope.
What?
No way. It's not happening. It's a lot of work, like, and back then it was like, I thought I was doing something wrong. You know what I mean? But it was like, now when I look back, I'm like, no, those plants were just trash. Like,
yeah, they weren't the ones to cut up. Like,
nope.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And I mean, I've talked about this, on the show before, like me and cutting Monstera elbows.
Yeah.
No, I just don't do it. Like, I don't try to prop them. Like, I will import them. I'll let them grow out, and then I'll sell them. But I almost refuse. I have one right here that I'm looking at that I've been wanting to cut for almost a year now, and I still haven't cut it because I'm like, I don't love this plant, and I'm not gonna sell it because it's too big.
Right.
But I just like can't get over the fear of trying to cut it and then it just doesn't go the way I want it to.
It's so scary, like especially when you're used to, like you said, like importing, and like you see, what kind of happens with that and the turns that they can literally take overnight, where you're what happened?
Instantly.
Like growing and like the leaves were all perked up, and you wake up in the morning and they're all like, hunched over and like look terrible. Like what? But it's crazy, and I think a lot of it too is like environment. Like back then I would try to like grow them in a small green, like a little, like an Amazon greenhouse. There's like not much airflow in there at all, which is super important, I think, with Monsteras especially. And it would just be difficult. But now it's like I literally can throw something, I'll cut it right here and I throw it on, my counter in a cup of water and I forget they're there half the time and the thing is like exploding with roots. Or like I'll fresh cut them with just an aerial root and throw it in like some moss and perlite and throw it in the tent and forget it's there. And in a couple of weeks I look and it's already putting out a new leaf and I'm like, what? It's just so weird how environment really plays such a huge part in it as well.
Yes, it does. You're in Florida, right?
No, I'm in Connecticut now.
What? Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you moved.
Yeah. I know, like figures. Like right when I started getting really, really into like the rare stuff was when we moved, and I'm like, what a difference! Like down there, plus like everything's just more readily available there too.
Yeah,
like I had a white princess before I even knew what white princesses were like back then, and then the prices went crazy, and I was like, I literally gave that away to my neighbor because I got it at like a local nursery, near my old house, and I have ever known. And then they were $200, $300 like cutting at one point, and I was like, oh my god. But they don't let me take the plants across state lines like with the moving company. Yeah. And our car was so packed because I had him as a baby and then the dog and like all of our stuff that we needed for the 2-day trip. And I was like, yeah, those plants are not fitting. So, but
well, what a lucky neighbor, man. If I wonder, if only they knew. Did you tell them that it was her?
That's what I always wondered too. Like the neighbor who I gave that one to, I didn't like keep in touch with, and I was like, man, I would love to know like if that was still alive, and if so, like if she had any idea like what it was even worth at that point, like
yeah,
would have died literally.
That's insanity. Oh my gosh. So you're a seller. You're co-creator of Ethereum Addicts. How is it being co-creator admin like on a group? Like I admin some groups. Most of the time they're pretty tame. I don't have to do much because it's not my group. I just, help out here and there. Yeah. How is it for you guys like maintaining that group? Like
it's usually pretty chill. I think like when my friend and I kind of came up with it as almost a joke, honestly. Like we were just kind of sick of like a group that we were in at the point, like at that time and point.
The one everyone's in.
We were like, okay, like this is so ridiculous. And we knew everybody else in the community was kind of just getting fed up with it. And it was constant like personal promotions for like their business. And we're like, this isn't what this is supposed to be. Like we want a group that's more like educational focused and BST, like not pushing somebody else's personal agenda. Like it shouldn't be, it should be for like the community and for like everybody. So we kind of just like said it as a joke and we're like, let's just start our own group. Like, so, my friend went on, hit that. She's like, okay, I created it. Like, what do we do now? And I was like, I don't know. I guess we just invite people. Like I had admin and mod in other groups. So I was like, let's just invite a bunch of people and see what happens. Like, worst case scenario, who cares? You can share like pictures with your friends or whatever.
Right. Yeah, there's no like takeaway. Like there's no negative within doing that. Absolutely. So how long have you guys had the group?
I think it's been like probably a little over 2 years now.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Like probably almost 2.5, I think, because we made it like I think it was like shortly before IAS. Not last year, maybe the year before. 2 years.
Yeah, definitely the year before, because I've been in that group for a while now.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 IASs ago, right? I wonder if it is. Yeah, so we're probably going into almost to year 3, probably like 2.5 years. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh,
and it's growing. Like we were not expecting that, but we did our best at like keeping it open for. It's hard though. It's like, you're never going to please everybody, which
no, you can't. And I know that. I know that for sure.
No matter what you do, but we just try to, it was hard getting like a good team together in the beginning and, just finding like that balance, I think, especially with that the group was like growing so quickly. So I think at this point we're like at a good neutral point where we have, like a good group of people where we're all able to kind of put like any personal opinions and stuff aside. I'll hold this. He's trying to pour milk for his dad. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Got it.
Mom duty. Always on mom.
Always. Okay. So it never ends, Okay, that's good because you're going to spill it going up the stairs. Good job. Go very slowly. God, I hate milk.
2 hands.
Yeah. Like bouncing up the stairs with it. Watch him always like, who spilled something sticky on the stairs?
Yep.
But yeah, I think we just, like try and keep it where we all, if there's like a major decision or a different rule or something like that we need to either reconsider or add or like take away, we try to all just vote if we have to. Like if we're not all, saying the same thing and on the same ground, then we just try to vote and majority wins and just keep it moving.
Nice. Yeah, no, I love that. And, I've been in the group for a few years now, and like I've never experienced anything negative. It's probably one of the most like calm, cool, and collected like group that we have around us.
We definitely try to keep it like that. And I would love to, like, when we have a little bit more manpower and time, I think it's just been so hectic for all of it. Like we all have kids and families, and, most of them work. So it's like, it's hard to find that time, but I would love to be able to like incorporate more educational stuff.
Yeah.
That was like a major thing I really wanted to focus on, but it's so hard with the, like doing lives on there. Like years ago, I used to admin for another group, but we used to do live Zoom sessions and it was really fun. I did it with my friend Zai, and we would do like, propagation one day and do like pests another. We would do it like every couple of months. We didn't do it like regularly, but it was
like
really
a little workshop. Yeah.
And it was, super easy for us to do. Just get together like for an hour or two, and people could join the Zoom. Like we could share the link so they could watch it later too if they weren't like available. But I'm trying to figure out something like that because it's so hard with the live. Like the lag is awful on Facebook.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's like the worst.
Yeah, it is really, really rough.
Yeah.
So I get that. Maybe like making like some sort of like short content. Like that's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. But maybe, it'd pay off. But yeah, that is a tough one because like the lag is awful. The connection most of the time is bad, like on Facebook, and like sure you can redirect to other places, but that's not the same as like having it right there.
Right, exactly. And it's hard, even like like if we do like but don't hit this one. You're gonna take the one with the brown leaf.
I'm gonna make an edit of it.
Oh, you're gonna make an edit. Awesome. He said he'll edit the live stuff for us if we want to do like videos for the group.
Okay, love that. Boy, work.
Yeah, I sadly have to say he's probably better than I am with like editing. I'm so bad with it. Oh my God, it's terrible. Like the other day, I'm like sitting there, I was like getting pissed and I was like, God damn this thing. Like, what am I doing wrong? And he's like, what are you trying to do? Like, I'm like, that's great. Sorry, he's 8 now, but my 8-year-old is telling me how to like crop pictures on Instagram because I was like, why can't I figure out how to crop this? Like, can I not do it once you're already in here? Do I have to go back to my photos? And he was like, let me see it. And he literally got it in like 2 seconds. And I was so like, oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Well, shoot, just pay him a couple bucks an hour, get him to do that. Hell yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna have to because at this point, I'm like, oh my God.
No, that's great. Yeah, you guys have an amazing, beautiful, healthy group. There's a lot of sales going on there. There's a lot of talks, discussion, like really into it. And like I say, like Anthurium people, they're completely different than some of our regular like collectors. They're so different. Like the conversations, like I love Anthurium. I've never gotten as deep into it as a lot of other people. But I'll look at these conversations and I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Wait, I don't even know what that word means.
Yes, like there's so much going on there, and you guys are constantly talking about, there's what was it that came out? There's like pond, there's the blacks.
Oh yeah, the fluval, like the strata.
The fluval, and now there's the tree fern, like
so much.
All these,
oh my gosh.
Like so much stuff, and people like specifically like with Anthurium, like love to like try absolutely everything.
All the different like season stuff too. Like I feel like a lot of people will do that. Like I've not even like intentionally done it, but I've like had larger batches of seeds that I'm like, okay, I put, you like put a bunch, pot up a bunch of them, and then you realize, oh, great, I still have like another 100 I need to like do something with. I'm like, okay, well, my tree fern just ran out, so I guess they're going in like moss. So I've like simultaneously done them like, in separate substrates without even realizing. And I'm like, I really haven't seen like any difference. Like, I feel like
Really?
yeah, like I think if the environment is kind of similar, it's like they just,
Yes.
kind of do the same as long as you're watering the same and like giving them the same nutrients. And
Yeah. I mean, I'll say the same. I kind of use whatever I have on hand.
yeah.
And it's, as long as I'm taking care of them, then
Right.
they're going to be just fine. And that's one thing, like, I love my mother plants and I love seeds. Like, I don't really like to buy small anthurium. Like, I only want big anthurium, or I want to grow them out because I love to watch the process.
It's so fun. Like, I think that is one of the things that people love about anthurium is like, it really is so rewarding. Not that it isn't with like monstera or philodendron, because it is. It's like awesome to grow a cutting or whatever into a huge plant. Like, but we'll look at it after. Okay, we don't have to do it now. Oh, crap! Now I lost my train of thought.
Growing out anthurium.
Growing them. So it's just neat because I feel like in comparison to like if you were growing, a bipen from a cutting.
Yeah.
And then you had, a seed that you started growing. I feel like your anthurium is going to mature and start flowering long before that bipen ever will flower. Like,
definitely. Definitely. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Like they just don't. I mean, I have a lot of philodendron that I've had for, what year are we in? 2025. I've had for 6 years now, and they've never flowered. Like, but I had. Yeah. I had the only philodendron I ever had flower was my domesticum, and it flowered pretty quickly after getting it, which was really rare and random, I think. But that's the only one. I've never had any other philodendron or a monstera flower for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I do have to say the only thing I've ever had flower for me is my anthurium and my alocasia.
Right. Oh yeah, alocasia too. Those like to flower.
Yeah, but they are. Oh God, I hate it. I hate it. The first time I ever had an anthurium flower, hey foliage hunter, thank you for coming in. The first time I ever had an anthurium flower, I'm pretty sure I was pregnant with my last.
Oh my gosh.
So your senses, are so much stronger. I walked into the kitchen, I'm like, what is that smell? What is that smell? And I was looking all over. And then I finally saw it like 2 days later. I was like
I know
that's what it is. And like my husband's looking at me like I'm insane. And I'm like, it's this flower. Like this is what's driving me nuts.
Yeah. Especially if it's like the best. I've noticed that if it's like a best AFF, like the and even like a hybrid with the best, they can have such a pungent. What the? My dog's like choking over there. They can have such a pungent smell. Like I'm lucky. I guess mine smells kind of like not citrusy, but like fruit, like a florally fruity smell. But I've heard a lot of people say that theirs stinks like terrible, like gasoline. I've heard like hot trash. I'm like, okay, I guess I won't complain that mine smells.
To me, it was like ladybugs. You know that smell of ladybugs?
Yes.
That's what it was for me. And speaking of flowering, I was showing Mike this earlier. Last week we focused on Hoyas, or not last week, but last episode. You guys, and I told you that they flower.
Yeah, I love I miss like all my Hoyas flowering, and I got rid of them.
Here are some flowers, and like I have so many different, like
they smell so good though.
Yeah, here's some more that are gonna be flowering soon. But these ones, they smell really sweet. They're so cool, and these are not the prettiest ones. I will say there are some that are much prettier.
Is that a Croniana silver?
Yes, it is.
I missed that one. I had one of those too. I like literally my Hoya. The thing with me and Hoyas was like they either loved life with me and would flower like crazy, or they just shriveled up and died. Like there was no in between with me and Hoyas. So when we moved last year, I was so overwhelmed with everything, like trying to even think about packing the plants here.
You said last year.
Yeah, we moved last year. It was just too much. So I said, you know what? The ones that like I just I think not even that. I didn't care anymore for them. I just got to the point where I didn't care about anything. And I was like,
Yeah, I get that.
go. If somebody wants you, like, take it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I gave a lot of them away to like a friend of mine that used to live down the street from us. And I got to check it and see, because I'm like, maybe I kind of want like a cutting or two back. Just
Well, if you want one of these, I'm more than happy to
love
share.
those.
Yeah, I got all of these when I went to Thailand. I handpicked hundreds of Hoyas, and I have some.
They look so nice. Like, they're so full and long. I love it.
Yeah, I have some that are like 9 feet long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're absolutely insanity. Like, this one is all the way up there, and it's 3 feet
That
on
one's
the
so nice.
ground. But yeah, no, I love my Hoyas. They were another one where I was kind of, because they're a bougier plant, and like they can get pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stayed away from them also.
Yeah.
But when I went to Thailand, well, I had gotten, I picked up, like I cleared a table out from like a plant con or something like that of all Hoyas. And after I realized how easy they were to take care of, I was like, I like this.
Like, once you get it down, I feel like too, and I honestly think like substrate has a ton to do with it too. Like, if you have them in the wrong substrate, it can be a total disaster very quickly. Like, I remember I got it was a Hoya Wilbur Graves, like the WG No ID China one, and I think I paid like something stupid, like $650 for like a one node.
Yeah.
Rooted, but it was like, 3 little of their little like tiny shoot roots. Like, it was not what I would consider rooted, but that was like the norm back then. And I got it, and I was so terrified that it was gonna like hate life. And back then I was really into like doing leca for anything that wasn't like super rooted. So I threw it in leca. It's literally still sitting in my kitchen windowsill in leca, and that was,
my god, I love it.
It had to be what, 4 or 5 years ago. I think I got that, at least 4, I'd say. So
that's insane.
I mean, it grows. Oh, there's a bug. It grows like a little, I don't know, fly or gnat. It grows in there, but I mean, ever since we moved, I think the kitchen window faces south, which is nice, like southwest, but it has like an awning, which I need to get the awnings off those back windows because I love sunlight, and like I hate that the guy who lived here before was older, and he probably tried to keep the sun out naturally so you didn't have to pay for air conditioning or whatever, and I'm like, no, I need the sun. So I gotta but hopefully it'll like start growing a little faster. It's been super slow. I did cut it like probably last February or March, because it was right before like the local sale that we have coming up again. So I don't think it's really grown much since, maybe like a few nodes it's put out. But
well, she'll get back to it. I'm sure she will.
At least it's alive, right?
Yes. So with like, obviously trends, they're constantly changing, and especially with Anthurium. Like, how do you keep up on that? Like, do you, utilize, is there anything that you utilize, or are you just always in the know, or like maybe you don't know? Like, it's very hard for me to keep up with trends.
It's hard. It's definitely hard to keep up. And I feel like the good thing with Anthurium is I think a lot of the trends actually come from here in the US, as opposed to like with a lot of the philodendron and monstera, they tend to come from overseas. So it's kind of like the reverse, which is neat, I guess, in a way, because that's like the one thing we kind of have better here than over there, although they kill it on like most levels. So
yes, I will say that. Yeah, like Thailand, like definitely, they're always coming out with some of the wild shit.
Always, like, it's insane. I mean, but they have like prime environment for it.
They sure do. Yeah,
it's amazing. I would move in a second if I could.
Oh yeah, if you have the opportunity, like, you gotta go. Like, it is the most beautiful thing, and like I was lucky. Like, you probably know Pearl from Toltec Plants.
Yeah.
So I went with her. Her and I are pretty close friends, and so we went together. I spent a lot of time with her family. We went to like all the local areas, but also
so cool.
Some of the most popular areas. We went to visit some of the most beautiful nurseries, and
I'm sure
it was definitely like, it impacted my life, and like I'll definitely want to go again. Would like to take my kids, because I'd love for them to see like that type of life. Like, it's a third world country, and like I think it'd be really good for them to see that and, you know, experience it and like just kind of have a little bit of freedom too, because that's, you know, everyone there, you know, there's dogs, cats, like animals, like all over just living their best life. And the kids, you know, they do their thing. They're never wearing shoes, you know, like they're just out, like they're just playing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love
do you have anyone in specific that you look up to in our industry?
I would say probably not really so like specific, but I mean there's so many amazing people like in our community who I greatly admire, especially like the OG growers, you know, like especially when you're looking at like Ethereum.
Yeah.
Like Barry and Enid and you know, like all they've just been doing their thing for so long. And I think it's probably a little like not shocking to them, but just it's very different now. I think like we're lineage and, you know, like just tracing the history, like everything is so important to so many people in Ethereum. And I think for them, it's probably a little crazy. Like, it's just really cool to see like that, you know, they've been doing this for so many years and like for so long. And they never cared about, you know, who collected this and where it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, they did it because they loved the plants and they, you know, they love just growing, I think. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think that that's really cool. Like that they get to share that, you know, that they get to share like so much experience and knowledge with us. I would love to be able to get, like we were saying with like the live stuff, I would love to be able to get somebody like to do something cool, like sit down with them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
ooh, maybe I can get Barry on here.
You try and get Barry. That would be really cool.
Have you met Barry? I've met Barry so many times.
So I love him.
Such a sweetheart. I absolutely love him. He tells some of the most authentic and like wild fucking stories. Like, dude's got some goddamn stories. Like, for real.
Yes. He is a true character. Like, he's amazing.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I'm gonna see if he wants to hop on. I haven't talked to him in a while, but
that would be so awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. It'd be really awesome to have our OG. Like, he is the OG of OG.
Yeah.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about what is a no ID Anthurium and why can we not just slap a name on a no ID Anthurium?
So basically, like you said, no ID is no ID. And I think it's so obviously like it'll, you know, just continue like down the line, like kind of like the game of telephone, right? Where it like gets twisted and distorted. It kind of ends up being like that same thing. So like if I sell somebody something that I lost the tag and I honestly can't say for sure, like I might think it looks like it could be, you know, this plant or this cross, like, but I don't know for certain, like 100% certainty. And then I give it, you know, sell it to somebody and say, oh yeah, this is definitely like, I don't know, a BVAP, right? Mm-hmm. But then they go and use that for breeding or something down the line. And they're saying, yeah, this is a BVAP. Like, so you end up getting like, it's not what it is. So
yes, it's not authentic to what it is. So
exactly,
you know, everyone in our audience, a lot of them are likely like breeders of reptiles, and that's something very specific. And you know, when I'm talking with my reptile sellers, you know, I try to like I utilize Anthurium a lot. I'm like, we've seen this before. Like, the lineage is important. Like, we use the word morph here. It's different. Like, and so there's so much cross between the way that we deal with, you know, dealing with reptiles and like you know, their lineage, their morph, them breeding, and Anthurium and how we deal with it. It's absolute insanity, and it's interesting how you can see how so many things can kind of align and be similar in completely two different industries.
It is crazy.
Is there, you know, because I know, let's talk about Indonesia.
I was gonna actually use them as like a perfect example.
Yes, go shoot.
It's hard because it's like they have some really amazing hybrids and stuff, like some really cool plants come out of there, but I think they get looked down upon a lot, especially by people here who are like bigger collectors and that breed, because they're looking at it like, well, if I don't know what the hell this is,
Mhm.
or even if you're saying it's this, it looks nothing like it should. And, you know, like, how am I supposed to now turn around and use that for my breeding? And then you just kind of continue muddying the waters, like, per se.
Yes. No, that's exactly,
You know?
yeah, that's exactly right.
And then it's like, you can't charge somebody a price that you would charge for a pure species when it's clearly not.
Mhm.
And like, we see that a lot, and it's hard, like, when, like, in the Facebook group, like, adminning, it's hard because people will, you know, like, message and be like, hey, like, this person's selling this as this, but, like, you know, it's not, like, but that's the other thing with Ethereum, is like, you can't really say for sure, like, it's hard,
Right.
because
You have to just try to be as honest as possible.
it's like, you really have to be. And then it's hard too, like, in the sense that a couple years, even just a few years ago, like, tracing lineage was not, you know, history on it was not kept. So there's so many things that we just don't even know what they actually are, if they are like a pure species, or if they are just, you know, a natural hybrid. Like,
Right.
we
Yeah.
don't know. It would be amazing if somebody could just come out with like a way to do plant like DNA and be able to
Like,
just
for me, everyone in the video that's doing
I just like
Husbandry Pro, like, you're
Yeah.
tracking the lineage of all these reptiles. Let's get this
Shocking.
shit on some plants. Like, we
I think
need
you
it.
would be amazed, because it's like, you got to think about easy with that. Even like, you know, growing in like a tent or a greenhouse, you have the constant concern that a small little fungus gnat could, you know, accidentally fertilize something that you already did. So now you get like cross contamination, and
Yep.
try and do everything we can to prevent that from happening, but like, it still happens. And it's just, it's like, it's crazy to think, like, in outside in nature, that nothing like that has occurred, you know, like, obviously it occurs. So
Yeah.
I find it extremely hard to believe that there probably even is any like actual pure species
things
around.
anymore.
Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of things like that we already have in our collections are probably not pure species, and they probably are just, you know, natural hybrids that we've come to call a pure species, but it's probably, I guess, a pure
We don't want to talk
species.
about this anymore. They're gonna get mad.
I know. I'm banned. I'm blackballed. No.
We're gonna get our butts kicked. No.
Right. But it's like, you know, you'd have to be crazy to not think. Like, I'm sure there's some that might be like at least close to, you know, very close to like their original parent, but
yeah, it's, you know, and you know, exactly, like, we don't know. It just, you know, we just started tracking this shit.
Right.
And, like, we, like, ultimately everything is just made up anyway. Like, let's just, ultimately, this name is made up, and it's been made up over and over and over again.
Yep.
But it was very interesting, and I wanted to bring that up because when I first jumped into the Ethereum game and wanted to start selling them,
right.
I worked with John for Next World Exotics, and he helped me out a lot. And he's like, don't buy from Indonesia. Don't buy. Because if you buy that and you tell them this is an Indo-Anthurium, that price is going to get cut.
Well,
by half.
yeah, that's the problem. Like, that's why I feel bad for a lot of like Indo sellers, because they're breeders over there. Like, I think that like Eric from Cartel, I think he's done like an amazing job at just building his name and his reputation. And, you know, like, I think he kind of really set himself aside because he you know, like, bought from here, and he made sure that he got like what we consider to be that species. So,
right.
And then he kind of, you know, got his program going, and he, you know, works closely with like the guy who does the Hue Ray crystals. And I know, like, I think it's really awesome, like, what he built over there.
No, absolutely. He took the market and like what we needed.
Yeah.
And he was able to produce it over there. Like, that was such a brilliant move on his part.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think we have a pretty big fan or foliage. You either love Cartel or you hate them. I can't quite remember. Because I can't say we're really good friends, but we're good friends over Facebook.
Yes.
And he's foliage is very opinionated. He doesn't just hop on any trend. And I remember him asking, like, maybe it was a year ago, probably about a year ago. He's like, why is everyone like this person? He's overhyped. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like, I felt the same way. But he's,
Yeah.
you know, Cartel's definitely done, like, he did the right moves. He took the right steps. Like, he did everything he should have. And
compared to like a lot of the other ones, you know, like a lot of the other like breeders over there. I think it was probably hard for a lot of them too to import like plants from here, you know, so they just use what they have and
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Aren't gonna get the pay, you know, the price tag that you would with the stuff from here.
Right. Yeah.
I see you raised your hand. What's your question?
Let's talk a little bit about you. I wanted to know, like, how did you fall into the passion of plants, and what was the first plant that you've ever loved?
I would say, I mean, like I've kind of had house, you know, just like normal house plants as long as I can really remember. My dad,
really?
Like my dad has always been more so into like outdoor plants and flowers and stuff like that. But you know, even when I got like my first apartment, I remember like one of the first things I did was like rush to the store and get like, I think I got like peace lilies and just like random stuff to put throughout. Like pothos and stuff. I've always loved just having like natural greenery like in the house. So, and it's supposed to be good for you, you know, with the air quality and everything. So I just always did. And it was just, I would say probably like my Monstera was, or like my fiddle leaf fig. I had gotten like a really nice fiddle leaf fig when I lived down in Florida. I loved my desert rose too, like basic plants, but I loved them. And then I had gotten a pink princess and a white princess, like right, you know, like shortly before, had to be like 2019 or 20. When was COVID? 2020.
2020, baby.
So it had to be. I'm like, I don't even know what year it is. So had to
That's
be like
mom life.
2017, I think it was 2017, because it was when Kai was little. So I had gotten those, and I just kind of started seeing like, you know, just different things. I didn't know, like back then I, you know, would see like a sport variegated Monstera at the, you know, nurseries and stuff. And I remember a couple of times I saw them and I was like, oh, that's sick. Like I better not touch that. Like, I didn't know what it was back then. But once I started, like, I forget what the first group I found was. I think it was probably Plant Purge, like the old
Plant Purge USA, the old one. Yeah.
I want to say that was it. And then eventually, like, I started buying stuff online. And then shortly after, maybe within a year or so, COVID hit and everything went crazy.
Yep.
So it got wild. I mean, I remember seeing variegated Adansonii selling for like $10,000 for a little really plant. And I was like, this is insane. But like at the time I was, you know, my work had shut down because of COVID. And I started like buying extra plants with the money that I was getting from like whoever, the government or whoever the hell was sending us those checks, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it was a good investment in reality, because at least I was able to, you know, back then I would just buy like plants that I really loved and wanted. And hi, can you go sit and be quiet, or you need to go to bed? Because you should be in bed anyways. Okay. Like, go to bed.
I get it.
I'm sick. Got like a milk mustache going, and oh goodness, hey, don't do that. But yeah, so I just would buy stuff that I loved, like my variegated potatoes and beauties, and I mean they weren't cheap, obviously, but I would just prop them. And I mean, I was good at growing. That was like the thing that I always really loved doing, was to grow.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, kind of would do that, and I'd sell like cuttings, like rooted cuttings that would start growing. I'd sell them and kind of make most of your money back, especially after a while. Like even if you spend
absolutely
$700, like the cuttings themselves would sell for like $200-300 back then. So
exactly,
you made your money back in a couple cuts, basically. You know. And then I think I pretty much had some anthurium back then, like my Lux and like my silver chrome like anthurium.
Yep.
I had gotten those probably like 2020. And then I started kind of going like deeper into the rabbit hole, and it was kind of funny to me because I would always be like, oh, like I remember Phil and Lexi, like when they first started collecting, and we became good friends back then in like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Lexi was just kind of like really not that into the philodendron and monstera, and Phil loved them. And Lexi loved Anthurium, and she kept pushing and pushing him to start buying Anthurium. And like they slowly started building up their collection, and they were smart. Like they built up quick, and they started, you know, like making their own hybrids and everything. And now they're killing it. Like
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
built
Yeah.
an amazing business. Like I'm so excited for them. They have so much cool stuff like in the works, and just it's awesome what they did.
Yeah. How much money? How much did you spend on your most expensive plant?
So my variegated Billy was probably up there. I spent $3,500.
Oh,
It was
wow.
2 tiny leaves that were like 4 inches, and the new growth coming in. And I think I traded a bipen for it.
Here is a variegated Billy. So you
That was
guys
a
can
cute
see.
one. I
These,
love Billies. Like
I will always love Billies too. You know, you guys, I would sell this for no less than $280,
like, they still
$300.
sell decently considering how like everything else just dropped like crazy. Like
Yes.
they did. And that was actually one of the plants that even since then I've only cut twice, like, and sold anything from it. Like
I've never cut a Billy.
I loved it. Like, and they're very tight nodes. Like even as they mature, like there must have been like probably from when I moved from the old house to here, there must have been a time frame where it wasn't getting as much light as it normally did because it had like a nice little gap between the nodes. Like hell yeah, I cut this thing. Like I'm not usually one to be afraid to cut like tight inner nodes either, because like I cut my Carlas, I cut, you know, like it doesn't bother me, but the Billies can definitely be difficult because their petioles love to like cross overlay kind of.
They do.
Like, so they're a pain in the ass.
Yes, they are. And I mean, pillows, like, they take a long time to root. Like, that's why a lot of people don't even bother growing them out.
Yep.
I'm pretty lucky. Like, I haven't had that much. Excuse our garage door is opening.
Oh, that's okay.
We haven't had, like, I haven't had that much trouble. Philodendrons was actually the first thing that I ever, you know, decided to chop up.
Yeah.
And it worked out in my case. Luckily, it worked out. But I know a lot of people don't even bother. They like, don't even want to deal with it at all.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially with like the prices now, where like shakes or beauties, right? Like to import them, you can get them for what, like less than $20 a piece now, probably $12. Like,
yeah,
why the hell am I gonna bother? Like,
yes, exactly.
What are you gonna make? You're probably not gonna make anything. You're probably gonna lose money on the damn thing, cutting it up, waiting for it to grow. Like, you're better off, like you said, import fruit, you know, get them acclimated and sell them. Like,
yeah, absolutely, that's the way to go. I have like all these philodendrons right now, you know, that I wanted to cut up, and I'm like, I can do that, but what am I like? These are only like dollar auctions at this point, you know.
It's like if you got the extra space and like don't, you know what I mean? Like I'll do that every once in a while. Like I just cut a bipen because an emerald queen, because like they just start getting so damn big again. And you get to that point where it's like, eventually, I mean, the emerald queens have held like decently too, but it's just like, I didn't have the space for a long time. Like we were in a townhouse before here, like a condo. So I didn't have much extra space. So as much as I love to prop and like grow stuff, it was hard because yeah, like I couldn't even, you know, here I have the 2 tents plus like all the bins, and I have like some extra space, but I still don't have enough damn space. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like we could never have enough space.
Yeah, I don't think
never have enough space. They take up a lot of space, especially if they're, you know, mature leaves. Like, and you don't like, yes, you can have like them going on top of each other, but only a little bit because they still need to get all that light. Like, they need that.
And you definitely see the plants start suffering. Like before we moved, I for sure, like, not that they looked bad or that they, you know, like weren't in good shape. It's just like they weren't growing like how they once did.
Right.
They're so compacted and on top of each other. And then luckily I didn't ever have like fungal issues or pests, but like you got to worry about them.
Yeah. If that would be
You know?
a nightmare. Like if you were to have like a fungal issue, like then
Oh
done.
my-
That whole thing is
I
infected.
can't even imagine, or even like a pest outbreak. Like that's why I'm so crazy about staying on top of like my preventative sprays. Like
Yep.
I try to do every 4 weeks, but I usually end up being like about 6 weeks. But and I always rotate. Like I'm kind of like a Nazi about it because I am
You have to be. This is your entire collection. Like,
yeah,
man.
like yes. I'm like that'd be like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I'd probably give up. Like just
A
take
lot of people do that shit. Like breaks people because it is
Yeah.
so overwhelming. Like having to wipe all of the leaves off of all of your plants and like multiple times a month. Like that's insanity. Like at that point, like if I had the capital, I would say fuck all of this and just buy new stuff.
Yep.
Like,
it's just it's impossible like battle. I feel like once they're there, like
it's difficult. It's very
especially,
hard.
like, I've heard thrips are like hell, like literal hell.
I hope I never deal with that. That is one of the things that scares me the most. And I had gotten a plant from a nursery, and thank God it was a plant that I was like, it was a huge, like 8-foot Ferrarian alocasia, and it was gorgeous. But I kept it outside, and thank God I did. Thank God I did, because that bitch had thrips. It was sad. I was very sad. So I just cut it all off, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like I'm just gonna throw it away.
That's why I like don't collect alocasia, because I'm too paranoid. I literally have one alocasia in my tent downstairs.
They're magnets.
I grew it from a corm that my friend had gifted me, and that's literally the only reason I have it, because it was a gift. And then I have another one at my tent that's at my parents' house, and that one was it was actually mine originally. It was a variegated dragon scale that Richard Ralph, before Richard Ralph even really sold, his brother had sold me a Thai con, and I remember it got like lost in the mail with USPS. This was forever ago. My God. And he felt terrible, and he was like, I don't have another Thai to like replace for you. Like, is there anything else you wanted? And I was like, not really. Like, I mean, what do you have? You know, like,
was that when the ties were like $300, $400?
Yeah, I think I paid like something crazy, like $500 or something.
Yeah,
like
makes sense.
And I was like, damn, like this sucks. And he had that dragon scale, and it was really cute. I mean, I'm sure he got it from Bill at Silver Chrome back then, and it was really cute. So I was like, that's fine. He's like, and then whenever I get a tie-in, like I'll send you it. And I was like, all right, like that works. So he sent me the dragon scale.
How much was that dragon scale worth when did it even have like a number at that point? Because they popped out and they were worth like $600 like last year.
That's what I was gonna say. Like they really weren't like a thing yet at that point, you know, like nobody really had them. And I remember then, like maybe a year later, I had it for like a year. It had gorgeous like half moons all the time, like such nice. I ended up trading a friend of mine for a freaking ring of fire. How stupid of me. And I hated the fucking ring of fire. Like it came, and I literally despised that plant. Like I left it in my living room. I was like, I don't even care what happens to this thing. It was out there with like some, oh my God, what are those? The prayer plants, you know, the marantas and stuff like that I like hated. It was out there with those. And I don't know how that stupid ring of fire lived forever. Like forever. I ended up giving it away to somebody like 2 years later as like a giveaway on one of my lives.
Yeah, sounds about right. I'm sorry, but that you took a big L on that one.
Yeah, really huge. But then ironically, like years later, my friend ended up I shouldn't say ironically, but she ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, and she had to go get treatment. And she was like, can I send you my plants like to take care of, you know, for a bit? And I was like, sure, like that's fine, of course. So I ended up back with the dragon scale, and she kind of just got out of plants. Like she went into remission. She was doing really awesome. She's back working as a nurse, and
awesome. Happy for her. Thank
got really into like fruit, like growing fruit plants and stuff like that. Does that now, but yeah. So the dragon scale is still.
It came back to you.
It's so weird.
That's awesome. No, that's a great story.
So
Thank you for sharing that.
It is nuts though, the way the fluctuation racing.
We got to get into our wrap up. So you have some gorgeous plants that you pulled to show with us today. I have a couple questions before we get into that. Do you have any advice for someone that's looking to get into the hobby? A lot of the people that, you know, will be watching this, they're exploring this. We're trying to introduce, you know, our bougie shit onto their other bougie shit that they're already spending a lot of money on. But, you know, what kind of advice do you have for, you know, any inspiring hobbyists?
I would say just like buy smart, you know, like don't, I think like, not so much like an important aspect. I think just like, you know, if we could go back like into time and kind of change things, I would kind of aim more for buying things in like that middle row, like not your cheap stuff, not like your super expensive stuff. I mean, granted, yeah, you can still make your money back on like the higher, you know, like the higher end things, but with the way that the market fluctuates now and the way that TC comes out so quick,
Oh yeah,
it's like, you know, it's just, I think like don't go so hard.
don't buy
like
new trending plant.
yeah
Just
exactly.
wait.
Like don't buy what's hot right now, because by the time you buy it and prop it, it's not going to be the hot plant anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
And I
I've
think,
learned that lesson
you see, I know.
real
We
quick.
all did.
Yeah, I know we all have. Yeah, absolutely. Like I've spent thousands of dollars on some plants, and luckily enough, I was just a part of some of these sales. Like I was a middleman.
Yeah,
But I also watched how quick that market went down.
like crazy.
The begonia pink
That's like
maculata. That's
the way. Oh my god. Yeah.
That's one I'm specifically talking about. You know, I sold one for $8,000, and
Right, I saw you said that. Yeah.
yeah, and then 3 months later, they're being sold. You know, just a little bit smaller than the ones
Ugh,
for $2,000, and I'm like, oh my god, like Jesus Christ, and like so I get it, like. You know, as much as we want to hop on that hottest plant, like just wait a little bit. Just wait at least like 3 months. Let the market like level out a little bit. If it's still expensive, you have more of a chance and a little bit more time for that to retain its value. Like we've said, like the Billies, they've retained decently well.
Yeah.
And so I know I can keep buying those and I can grow them out for as long. I don't have to rush to sell them. If I want to cut them, I can. I choose not to, but if I wanted to, I could and make even more money. But sometimes these these super hot plants, like they come in and they come out like real fucking quick.
Yeah. Like very, yeah, exactly. I think too, it's important like to know your market, like just kind of know your community. And like, you know, I think that's like one thing that really was beneficial to me is like, I am like a talkative, friendly person. I'll talk to anybody. Like, you know, my boyfriend gets mad all the time because he's like, can you ever just be in and out somewhere? Like, you always talk to people everywhere we go. And I'm like, it's not me. Like, people, just, what did you do to your face? Oh my God.
Oh, he's a movie star now, Mom.
What are you trying to do to your face?
We're only getting away from this because Mom is busy.
Of course. Never.
And then what tips do you have for anyone that's inspiring to be a seller as well? Like what resources do you think that like they should jump on or utilize? Or
I would say like kind of just, you know, looking. Hold on. No, I'll wipe it off. I would say just kind of look into, you know, different, like do your research, look into different platforms, make sure you're checking like, you know, your price points, what you're actually going to pay for like a wholesale price, or are you buying it as retail and then trying to, you know, like kind of just know your goal and know what you want.
Love that. Know your goal.
Get back off of that plant. Like, are you okay with buying that plant and just keeping it as a collection piece for you? Or are you trying to, you know, like completely sell the entire thing? Or are you wanting to just chop it up and sell all of that? Like, what's your end goal? I think is kind of the thing like to keep in mind like the entire time, and just really do your research. Like check all your places, check on Palm Street, watch everybody's live, see what everybody else is selling things for, and just kind of try to like separate yourself too, I think is important.
Oh, absolutely. That is the zinger.
Yeah.
With, you know, if like, so if we're looking at like live platforms,
right,
you know, all these people have their own personality, and that's a huge thing about shopping and like being a live seller is making sure you have your own personality, because you need to stand out from all of these other sellers. And so like You know, one that I always love to refer to is Lex. It's a succulent thing. Like, she's on top of being completely authentic to who she is. She's constantly dancing. She has great marketing. She brands well. Like, she does all the right things. And so like whenever I'm, you know, introducing someone to the platform or helping them out, onboarding them, whatever it may be, like I always tell them to, you know, look at Lex's live. Like, and I'm not saying you have to do what she's doing, but you need to find your groove. Like, you need to find what you can do to pull an audience the way that she does, because she's great. You know, the same with like Next World Exotics. Like, they already had a huge following, but people love them because John and Ashley are just, you know, sometimes they're out of pocket. Like, they're super education. Like, they have great educational parts. You know, they offer a lot too. They have a good variety, and you know, Ashley's real good looking and John's a little weird. Like, it's a perfect match.
They've got all the bases covered over there. I mean,
yes, they do.
Like, John is just a total trip. I mean, like, I love him to death. Like, they're amazing, both of them. Like, they're so great. Like, I've been friends with them for a while, and it's like, he's just, I always tell him, like, you're the best used car salesman in the world. Like, you could literally sell it, and they would think that it's gold if you told them. Like, he is so good at, and it's not that he's like, you know, lying to somebody, or like, cause he'll tell you if he doesn't think it's worth it, or
he's like, you know, like,
he's very straightforward, and it's just, he's very good at like selling. He's good at what he does, and he's good at talking with people, and you know, like, just,
and he actually gives a shit. Like, that's, you know, one thing, you know,
he does
give a shit. And you know, he helped teach me a lot. You know, I take things with a grain of, sometimes take things with a grain of salt with him. But you know, he gave me pointers to some of my like first wholesale that wasn't rare or import, and that helped. That was a game changer for me. And, like, you know, he's helped out a lot of sellers.
Always down to help people out too.
Yes.
Like, I love, like, he's always, like, if you need him, he will be there for you.
Absolutely.
You know, and same thing like Aaron Gibbs. Like, Aaron Gibbs is an amazing person. Like, there's so many like great people from the community. Really, like, there is. It's a good little community for sure.
All right, let's bring out these plants. So these are some of, you know, your favorite plants, and let's talk about them a little bit.
Okay.
If you can give just three tips on caring for anthurium.
So I would say, like, honestly, the most important thing, well, I would say one of the most important things with anthurium is making sure that they stay watered, like they stay hydrated and fed. Like, they're very strong feeders, in my opinion, like heavy feeders.
And what do you mean, for people who don't know, what is feeding in anthurium?
So that's another thing. Yes. Oh, good job. So a lot of people will just, you know, say like, oh, I use Super Thrive, or I use, you know, like Caliber Maxi, and like, that's great. Like, you can, you know, use that if you want, but I think it's important to make sure that, so like when I first really got into collecting, like super hard into collecting Monstera and philodendron, I was talking to Daryl from Chizula, and he actually was the one who kind of like explained to me a lot about like the NPK ratio and like what you really want to aim for with like aeroids in general. So I always just naturally stick to the 3-1-2 rule. So like anything that breaks down as close as possible to that 3-1-2 is great. But then you also kind of want to, you want to kind of just make sure that you're giving those specific plants too, like what they really need. So like when you have flowering anthurium, you really want to make sure that you're focusing on, you know, like your flowering. So like I use, it's a whole ass mix of shit. Like it's a lot. And I think that that's why lately, like literally last week, I was like, okay, I'm dumping my freaking slow release back in everything that doesn't have it, because I am so bad at procrastinating on watering, because like I don't want to mix all the damn stuff. So I start out with my silica. I put my silica into my distilled water. I let that sit for like at least 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah. And then I add in so I use the General Hydroponics Flora series, which is like
love them
one. Yeah. And so I add those in, like, you know, and they're each whatever order. Then I do the CalMag, and what else do I put in there? the silica CalMag, the 3, and oh my god, Recharge, Growers Recharge. I use for like, I love that stuff. I know a lot of people will use like other. I know the Flora series also has like the Flora Micro, which is also kind of like a beneficial bacteria and root stimulator and stuff like that. But I had used the Recharge like years ago, and I loved like the results that I saw instantly. I mean, within like a matter of 2 weeks, the roots were exploding out of every pot. And I was like,
that.
whoa.
We love some good root corn.
Yeah. It was amazing. Yes, you can put it back for me. So I kind of just like stuck with that. I really, I trust it and I like it. And I know it's got like the humic and fulvic acids. A lot of people will also add that to their mix with their Anthurium. But I just kind of use that. A lot of people like the Stout MSA too. I haven't tried that one. Diamond Nectar I add in like once in a while too. I know I'm forgetting something else. I also use every once in a while I do like a foliar feed too. I don't really know if it actually does shit, to be honest. I just I like used to do it a lot to my philodendron because I loved how they looked after I would do it, because it's called the product is called Cocoa Wet, and it's like basically almost like if you took like a coconut jelly and like melted it down to a liquid form. And it's supposed to help prevent pests and stuff like that as well. And it's like a natural sheen to your plant. So I do like that with water as well as the micronutrients by that same brand. And then I just do like a foliar feed with that. Sometimes I'll even add that right into like Captain Jack's or like there's certain like pest like sprays that I can mix it with. So sometimes I just do them all at once. But I think just the feeding thing is just kind of making sure that your plants are getting like the proper amount and that they're actually able to uptake it, because I think that's the issue that a lot of people fall into, where they're like, I'm adding this and this and this, but like it doesn't seem like they're getting it, and they're still yellowing and they're still doing this. Like, you're always going to have yellow leaves with Anthurium anyways. Like, it's just going to happen.
Always.
They love to drop leaves. So I think, especially if you're not feeding them enough, like, it's hard to, I'm not really like the scientific one to get into all that, but it's hard to like know exactly which nutrient it's missing too and that you're needing. Like, if you have yellowing, hold on, go lay down. If you have like yellowing on your leaves, a lot of times I think it's nitrogen. I heard I've tried to read it. My ADHD kicks in like a couple minutes in, and then
no, me too, girl.
Yeah,
me trying to read a book, it's not there.
But I mean, they do good. I know some people are really crazy about their, regiment. Like they're just overboard on it, and I guess if you got the time to do it, like go for it. I'm sure there's a ton more like scientific research and backing on it, but I just kind of think of it as, when they're in nature, in their natural growing environment, like they're getting certain nutrients from the ground that like they're not going to get from growing in a pot in our house, So
absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's important, even if it's just something simple like a slow release, just making sure that they are getting something, because, like water, yeah, you can get them to grow with just water, but like you're going to notice a huge significant increase in growth if you actually feed them.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about humidity?
I think that's pretty important with Anthurium as well. Like just keeping them hydrated. A couple of minutes. We're going to be done in a few minutes. So why don't you go lay down and get in bed? Keeping them, I think if you have them in ambient, like it's definitely doable. Like a lot of people do. Like
I've seen a lot of arguments about it. Yeah. Like I grow a lot of mine upstairs in
You do, see, right? And yours is dry because you're in Nevada, right?
Texas. So yeah, it's dry. And like we don't, we have some, actually right now is like when we are our most humid, because we're starting to get a lot of storms, but that's like 47 to 50% humidity. Oh, yeah. And so
and it's not,
yeah, they love it. I mean, they definitely, they do good, but it's, when I'm growing in here, it's definitely a lot different. I can see there is a difference, but they're still happy.
But they still grow. Yeah.
Yeah. And they still flower too.
Yeah. See, it's like it might be a little bit slower growing, but like they still are definitely, attainable and ambient. I think
Absolutely.
keeping them hydrated is like really the key. Like if you're gonna keep them, in a drier environment, just make sure that they are watered. But humidity's it's gonna help. I mean, like, the closer you can get any plant to its natural environment, obviously is gonna be ideal. But
Yeah, absolutely.
doable. It's definitely doable. And I think people are scared because they think anthurium, like, especially if they try it once and like they keep it in their kitchen and it shrivels up and dies. It's like, like, ooh,
Yeah.
I can't grow those. Like, but you can. You just need to like adjust what you did. Like,
yeah.
Having it in a substrate that's gonna retain more moisture in a drier environment is, like obviously necessary. Whereas like, I mean, I've definitely left plants out here for a year in a bin and there with no cover, and they flowered still. And, like they managed, but they don't grow the same as the plants in the tent do.
Yeah. All right. With the time that we have left, I would love for you to show off those plants a little bit, say their name and generally their value if you have any idea. I know some of them are mother plants, so it's kind of hard to put value on those. But
cute little baby first. So
look how small.
I know he's such a little baby. I love this one.
So it's variegated.
Hold on. Yeah, you want to get one of the baby ones? Okay.
No, I wanted to be there.
Okay. I don't know what you said. This was from a batch of seedlings that I did from my Ace Pat, but and I selfed it. Actually, this batch, the plant selfed itself when I was moving. I had it like covered with a bag, and I think it just must have rubbed on like the plastic bag that was like over the top when we moved, because we moved in January, so it was really cold here. And I was paranoid as hell that my plants were going to throw a fit, which a lot of them did, but they recovered in a couple of days.
Good. Oh, thank goodness.
So that was one of the cute little sectoral ones. I kind of got nervous at first because a few of them like came out like how that bottom leaf is, where it was like full white with like minty. And I was like, I mean, I did lose a few that kind of stayed that way, but this one was kind of cool because then the next leaf just had like a little bit of a white like lining around like the second leaf, and then it had like a lighter green color on it. And then it was an all green leaf, and then it had the half moon. So I was like, all right, good. It kept it. But I had a few that came out really nicely variegated from that batch. So I was excited.
What do you think the value for that one is? It is variegated, so that definitely
I would say probably, I mean, it's continued so far. I would say, I mean, at this size, probably like 300 maybe, I'd say.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy for like a tiny little plant. You know what I mean?
It might sound crazy to some people, but I was just in Thailand, and like these tiny little ones about that size, they were $300 to $900.
Yeah, see, it's great. Like a couple of the other ones that are really like highly variegated, they're like very like the white with like the minty like all over, and then like a little bit of sectoral green.
Yeah.
You spilled what? My plant? I'll get it after. It's okay. He's like, I need help. Fun. This is my Carla 5x10, which that leaf, I'm pissed. That was a new one. It was like rubbing up against the other one in the tent. I was like, oh no. So mad. But she's flowering again. So, oh, you carried all three at once? Which one spilled?
This one.
Oh, that's okay. It's because I just potted that.
I want to do that.
Okay, you're gonna show after, all right? So I actually got one. So I was collecting pollen off the last inflow, and I thought that it was like done, so I was just collecting, and I realized that the tip was like still a little sticky. So I kind of just rubbed some pollen like up the inflow, figuring it wouldn't do shit, but I was like, might as well. I mean, it's not gonna hurt. And it actually did take, so I got
nice.
I only got 4 berries though, and all of them had 2 except for 1. So I got 7 seeds out of it, and they all germinated and grew, and they're so cute. They have their little leaves out, and they're actually like a really good size first leaf. I was surprised because usually Carlas tend to be tiny, like their first. So I'm kind of excited for those.
That's exciting. Carlas are one of my favorites.
I love at first.
And Michelle's.
I'm not paying that for that. Like, it looks like a crystal, but like when you see them in person, they're so pretty. Like, they're just so dark and like the velvety tech. I mean, she needs to be wiped down, like but it's just, I don't know. There's just something about like, and they get like that sparkle and they're
stunning.
it's so hard to like see. It's hard with Ethereum. Like, I feel like you need to have like a real camera and like good photography skills. Like my friend Naquan and my friend Mike, they both take really nice pictures, like very nice photos with all their plants. And I'm always like, can you just like come here and take pictures for my plants one day? Because I cannot do that. And I know iPhones for a fact are like the worst in the tent. Good luck. Like if you have lights in your tent, you are, because no matter what you do, it looks hot pink in there. And it's not even like that in there.
Yeah.
It's thing. But I have like in the other tent, I have the new magnetic, like the newer magnetic Barina lights. And they're the same color technically as my other ones at the downstairs tent, but there's no pink to it now.
Interesting.
So they definitely changed something in them. You want to show this one? Here, let's move this.
Is this a G?
It is a NSE Carla. Oh, you're gonna read it? Okay, hold it up here so they can see it.
And wait, this is the S.
Yep, NSE.
NSE Carla Bless
By Best AFF.
ARF 2.
So this one was from my friend Pia across that she did.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I'm like obsessing with. Doesn't show as like good on here, of course, but it has like this really beautiful like red veining on it.
Yeah, I can see
I'm, like,
that, especially up at the top.
Yeah, it's turning out really, really nice. She had given me a couple of them, and I freaking forgot.
That's a gorgeous plant.
Yeah, it's turning out so nice. I had told her, I was like, I think I need you to send me more, because she gave me a few of them, and when we got back from Florida, I had left them out on the counter, and I had them like in a baggie, so I thought they were fine, and I think I had taken that one out and like potted it up, and then I must have gotten sidetracked and like forgot and left the bag open. And when I went back, they were like so shriveled and dried up, and I was like, I thought maybe they would like bounce back, but they just like deteriorated.
That sucks. Yeah, I've definitely had that happen.
And then this big guy, I kept trying to get this.
Oh my gosh, just massive.
Yeah, this thing. So this is my so they call it let me move this over so I don't hit the envelope. They call it portillioid, like with an I.
Yep.
So apparently the story goes, watch out, baby. That I think when so Enid was gifted from Dewey Fisk the NSE port, and he, I guess, oh my god, why am I like? So I was thinking that this one came from Ree, which I believe also came from Enid at some point, but the Dorito port, which was where I was going with it. Dorito port, supposedly Rory said, he said it supposedly came from the bottom of the pot of the NSE port that Enid gifted to him. So he said it was either a seed that fell from the NSE port, which could have possibly been like a hybrid of some sort, and fell into the pot and then grew out of the same pot, or it could have possibly been a selfing that just mutated, or it could have even been an offset that mutated. It's just really unknown because nobody really knows where any of the ports came from. Like,
yeah,
strangely,
You just find them randomly.
Rory does find them randomly, but he knows what he's doing. But yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite plants. It's been
gorgeous.
Such an easy grower. It's not velvety, like it's not. I wouldn't even consider it really sub-velvet. I mean, I guess it could be considered sub-velvet, but
it looks a little velvety over the camera, but I can tell it's not like a true velvet.
Right, exactly.
It looks velvety.
Like,
and
it's
that red immersion, that is just so beautiful.
I love this thing. And it's just been such a good grower. Like I literally just repotted that. And as you can see, it's like busting out again. Like it just goes crazy and it's flowering again. So I did a couple crosses with it before and none of them ended up coming out. So I'm
really?
hoping that this one will work.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. And if you do land something, I definitely want one of them.
I ended up doing with the pollen. I ended up putting it on my best AFF.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been saying like I'm probably going on 9 months now, and it's like the berries are just starting to form. I was like, people are not kidding you when they tell you that best takes forever.
Takes forever, yes.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
It's insanity, and that's one setback for me on why I don't want to try to like do anything with my flowers, because I'm like, that is such a long-term commitment to make sure that that flower lives.
That continues on, because it's like, holy crap, like seriously, we're still here. Like I kept waiting and I'm like, dude, how is there still no berries showing on this thing? Like, how is this possible? Is it pollinated or not? Like, and then after probably like, I'd say like a good month and a half in, I was like, it's definitely pollinated, because it would be long gone by this point.
Right. So, yeah.
Looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you still can't even see the berries. And now just now they started like actually forming their, nice round like circle on the inflow. Like that's wild. Whereas with this, it's like such small flowers. Like the flowers on the inflow are so tiny, and the seeds are very small. I've heard too with the reed port I've heard the NSE port, they can be kind of smaller too. Where Carla seeds are very like chunky, they're very fast to like they're quick, which is nice. But they're small batches. Like, I mean, mine was even more so small. But
yeah, I'm interested to see how they come out.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was honestly very awesome to have you on. You're very informative. You're able to share a lot, and we had some great conversations here. So thank you so much for taking some time and coming on with us and talking about your passion for plants and like where you are in the industry and what you do, and like just to learn more about you, and of course your son. We're very happy to have him on too. You're probably like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. At this point, I get it. But no, I want to.
Like almost 11 o'clock here. He woke up at 4 or something this morning. He was wide awake. He like has a problem if he wakes up like in the morning.
He can't get back to sleep.
He can't go back to sleep.
Yeah. Well, I hope he sleeps good tonight. I'm sure he will. I'll let you get him to bed. Like I said, you don't have to stick around if you can't. Just go ahead and drop. But thank you again so much for being here. It was wonderful having you.
So fun. Anytime. I really had a good time.
All right. Bye, Ashley. Thank you. All right, guys. So that was absolutely amazing. We had some great conversation. We learned a lot. If you have any more questions, you can find her down below right here. You'll see all of her ats and where you can find her on Facebook, Palm Street, her Facebook group, and IG. So if you have any questions or you want anything that she's going to be working on or offering, definitely hit her up. She's got some great things. For our giveaway, if you remember, we did have a giveaway for today, this beautiful no ID, and it is a no ID because my ID on this pot, where'd it go? Right here. I can no longer read it, so we just got to call it a no ID for now. So how you can enter to win this is go ahead and take a screenshot of our show right here and go ahead and post it on your IG stories. Tag Ivy Plants, tag Herb Collectors Network, and whoever does it first will get this baby. We'll send it out on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I will be paying for shipping, heat pack, cold pack, whatever you guys need, and you guys will get yourself a nice, beautiful anthurium. And these are sure to grow big and beautiful. This is a velvet anthurium, so you can kind of see that it has a little bit of texture there. They're absolutely stunning. And I'm super excited, but thank you guys for tuning in to another great show of Grow House, and I can't wait for the next one. But yeah, tune in next time. Go ahead and subscribe and follow so you can catch the next episode. But thank you. Bye-bye.
Still, step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow